and welcome to the Zoli Mamza podcast with Magali
and Hansini, where we have thought-provoking conversations about journeys, life, and much more. Catch our latest episodes every Monday.
Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy.
Hello, hi everyone. So today we have a really special guest. We have Dishina from Virago Coaching. So we've known Dishina for a little while because we've previously done a collaboration with her, and we talked a little bit about relationships, and she kind of guided us through identifying toxic relationships and just generally how to handle them on the Zoli Mamzel page. So today we thought we would kind of have a conversation with her about her career and about her journey. So if you'd like to give us a bit of intro about you.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much, Hansini. It's actually really a nice, I would say, setup to be talking to you like this, because we are going to talk about something very interesting, very dear to my heart today. But at the same time, I think although we are having to go through such difficult moment with the pandemic, we're still being able to have some valuable conversation. So I am the founder of Virago Coaching, which is a coaching and counseling company. The company has officially been launched last year in June, and I offer coaching and counseling services to professional, to women specifically, and also young ladies of 18 to 25 years old. A little bit about myself is that I am from Mauritius, a very hot summery island. And I was born here. I've always been here. And I went to England for my studies in human resources and continued my studies and have an MBA. But I would say my focus in my career has always been learning and development. So everything started with my passion for learning, for growth and development, and helping people around me, trying to overcome challenges. But obviously that took a more professional turn in my career. So today I am a certified coach and a cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner.
Wow.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you sort of get into coaching, counseling? Tell us about how you...
So actually I started as an HR operations, I would say, person, getting into the nitty-gritty of human resources, of the legal aspects and so on and so forth. And I was a consultant, but part of my job was to do training and development for major companies in Mauritius. And this is what I absolutely loved, delivering training and meeting a lot of people and just listening to people, how they're struggling with their day-to-day life and be able to just relate to them. And I was working with one of the pioneers of human resources in Mauritius, who was also a corporate advisor and a coach, an executive coach. So he was coaching like top level CEOs in Mauritius. Obviously, being under his wings, he said, okay, you're the next coachee. So he coached me for very intensely for the first year. And I moved from just a normal research assistant who just graduated from uni to a junior HR consultant. And that is where I realized that I didn't know I needed coaching, because I thought, I've got a degree and I'm okay to work, I'm more prepared for the professional world. But it's only until and unless that I went through that transformative period and transformative moment that I realized what exactly I love doing, as a career. And I decided to pursue my studies in executive coaching and counseling. And this is where I really kind of understood the impact of coaching and counseling in somebody's life, and why we should all have it as a one-time experience in our life, because it does really bring another side of you that you don't know exists. So that's how it all started. I did my certification, and then eventually I decided to pursue my passion and start my own company in coaching and counseling.
And how did you find, so I know you mentioned previously that you started your business while you were a mum. So how did you find juggling that balance? Because I think when we work a 9 to 5, sometimes it can be hard, but I think it's even harder when you're running your own business, because a lot of it is on you, your income, everything is on you. So how do you balance that really? And how did you balance it at the start?
So I think my journey has been very different from most. Well, I can't say that all our journeys are different, but it hasn't been a typical transition from a 9 to 5 job to a business. What has happened with me is that being a workaholic and just working very hard throughout my life, I went through a severe burnout. I just hit rock bottom where I just couldn't wake up in the morning, and I was very confused, and I just couldn't make sense of what was happening in my life. And I realized that I had to stop. And when I stopped, I took a professional break of nearly 4 months just to try to understand where I was. And I realized that it was the corporate world that was sucking my blood out. And it was I just couldn't give it to the corporate world anymore, because that thing of going to work from 9 to 5 and not being able to look after my 2 years old, I was just very, very much torn between family and professional life. And as a working mom, as a working woman, I wanted to make a career out of my profession, and I also wanted to have a successful career, but I couldn't forget that I have a family. So that literally got me so confused and so worried and anxious that I had my burnout. So when I stayed at home, I really thought this through. What is it that I really want to do? And then I said, okay, I have talent, I have potential, and I am certified. Hang on a minute. I have everything that I can possibly need to just carry on, right? So why don't I try to do something? But obviously I started doubting, and my husband was like, no, you shouldn't doubt. I mean, try to do something by yourself. At least give it a go and stop overthinking.
That's it.
And I said, okay, let me just buckle up and do that. So I registered my company and I started working on the products and services and the values and everything, all while being at home. So I was not working in a 9 to 5 job, but I had to deal with the professional guilt. So, typically when you've done like a degree or your master's, you're expected to go work, right? You're expected to have a job.
Yeah.
And exactly. So being at home now, trying to do that by yourself sounds like crazy. Like, why would you do that? You've got like your qualifications, go out there and get a job, like have your medical insurance covered.
Especially for Mauritius as well.
Exactly.
The expectation is even more there.
It's such a cliche. It's such a cliche, especially for ladies. Oh, you've got your master's. So where are you working? What's that company you're working for?
That's it.
And what I just, for me, it was a struggle to manage as a mom and as a person who's working 9 to 5. And obviously you have to sacrifice a lot when you're doing this. So I said, okay, no, I'm not going to listen to anyone. I'm just going to launch my own business. And I did that. And it's very hard. It's hard because you are by yourself. You have to make decisions. You have to know what kind of decisions you're making. You have to surround yourself by people who believe in you, but also who can give you, who can tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So if you're doing it wrong, you would need somebody to tell you, hey, you're doing it wrong. So somebody who pulls the red flag. And that point, I was like, okay, this is it. I've launched. It's here now, so I can't go back. But obviously, being an entrepreneur, it's hard. You don't have a fixed income. So I was working at the same time, but I had a more flexible job. So how has it been to juggle? It has been very hard. And I think it's one of the realities that we all need to know, that being an entrepreneur is hard. It's not a line that goes exponentially up. It goes up and down the whole time, because you go through moments of severe doubts and just constantly telling yourself you've made a mistake. But that's part of an entrepreneurial life, because you don't have that security and that kind of and framework that you have in the corporate world, where everything is getting sorted out for you. You just need to fill in the box and fill in the blanks and tick the boxes, and that's it. Do your job. In an entrepreneurial life, you make your own decisions, you make your own marketing, you're your own accountant. You are your own strategist. So you need to think, you have to wear so many different hats. All of that together, being a working mom, you also have to look after your family. But that's not a complaint, that's reality. And the more you hit yourself against reality, the more you will accept it. because then you will say, okay, that's what I've chosen. And you shouldn't take it as like a punishment, but rather as something like an opportunity to really see how much you can do as an entrepreneur. It's scary, but it's worth it.
Out of curiosity, where did the name Virago come from?
That's a very good question. So Virago actually literally means, if you're going to Google it, it says it's a brave woman who demonstrate heroic kind of qualities. However, Virago used to be seen as a negative connotation for women back in the days of Jeanne d'Arc and all of that, because they were depicted as women who are too daring, too brave for women. And I've grown up between two generations. That is, my parents coming from a generation of 40s and 50s, where women have to be the ladies at home, looking after, looking after the family, and that's all that you need to do. And also with a generation of 70s and 80s, I'm 80s, my sister and my brother are 70s. So there has been this major transition from how women should be to how women are depicted today. So back in the days, when you would call a woman Virago, it means that that's a bad woman. She's too brave. She's too loudmouth, or she speaks her mind out too much. But today, this is normal for being a woman. You are allowed to speak your mind up. You are allowed, you have to be brave. It's one of the qualities that we tell our ladies to carry on their shoulders with pride, braveness, resilience. So Virago Coaching is actually my mission, is to really nurture resilience. And that's my slogan, nurture resilience in women. And when I say women, I say from all ages, especially from those girls from 18 to 25 years old who are now becoming adults and now understanding what's their role in society. You know, what kind of role they should be having in society, and who do they want to be? Genuinely, who do they want to be? And not be somebody that society wants you to be. So that's the story behind Virago. And I decided to even tattoo it here, as you can see.
Oh yeah,
because I actually believe in that we have been victimized in the past, but that's the past. We shouldn't look at that too much. Now we are building ourselves from this generation onwards, and we are all Viragos. All women are Viragos.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's a really good.
It's to know.
There's a good message behind it.
Exactly.
It's a strong message. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think when you have something to sort of a mission, like you said, I think it just pushes you even more, and I'm all for it.
And I think also Virago is also about, when you say you are a strong woman, you also have to respect that other women are also strong. They're not necessarily enemies, but they are in the same situation as you. It's just that it looks different. So all women, we're all strong, we're all brave, and we have to help each other out.
Yeah, that's true. Because I think even like in the corporate world, like women at the top, sometimes they see each other as competition.
Definitely.
But it shouldn't be that way. I think, like you said, we should all help each other to just be the better versions of themselves, like whether corporate life or private life. It should just be like that and remove that competitive side. But that's literally sort of what you see sometimes.
Absolutely. I have been a victim of that myself, and that was one of the reasons why I was burnt out, because I had female bosses who wouldn't understand that I'm also a mother, who wouldn't understand that I have family, and they were challenging. And me being a working woman, I have to, and also career oriented, I had to give, I had to constantly give. But the people taking were women, and they refused to understand that we are all women here. We have to help each other out. And I can assure you that today we still have this problem in Mauritius, that in the corporate world, women do not
help each other.
support other women enough. And it's very sad. And let's forget the corporate world. Even society of Mauritius is like
That's
that.
it.
There's still this, sorry for the language, but this bitchiness and this I would say kind of competition between women. But why? Why do we need to have that? It's a mindset. It's a wrong mindset.
That's it. Yeah, I was going to say the mindset is still there. Yeah, the old mindset is still there.
Absolutely.
Which actually comes on to my next question, which was, what has been the biggest struggle about coaching in Mauritius?
The biggest struggle is that already Mauritius, we are a couple of years backwards, in the sense that, not backwards in the wrong sense, but backwards in the sense now we are embracing modernity fully, and we're understanding globalization fully, and we are trying new ways to enhance people performance, well-being and wellness. So we have started to do coaching. And coaching came into Mauritius through globalization. So obviously big corporates who are exposed to global practices would try to instill coaching cultures in companies. And that gave rise to this awareness that, okay, there is a need for coaching, not because it's the new trend, but because when somebody is going through a coaching experience, they genuinely see a transformation, because there is somebody who is there, who's giving you undivided attention, who is a professional and knows how to help you, right? So the biggest struggle, however, in Mauritius is that we are very small, right? We are such a small island, and we are exposed to a global market, right? So whoever is a certified coach in Mauritius does not have enough time to even make a space for themselves, that you've already seen these global coaches and world-renowned coaches who's got a whole organization as the backbone, who's got their tentacles everywhere, doing their marketing and doing this with programs and this and that. So the consumer ultimately is confused. They don't know who to choose. And living on a small island, you would rather trust the big shots. Okay, if I need to pay for coaching, I might as well invest in something that is big. Why should I invest in something that is small? So as individual coaches in Mauritius, although we have experienced the qualification and everything that can literally put us at par with any other coaches globally, we are still looked down upon, because we are compared and contrasted to the other international coaches, and say that they are the best, and they're better than us. How do you even know when you haven't even started, right? When you haven't even started an experience, and when we don't fully understand what coaching is all about. So it's very unfortunate as well that these big conglomerates or big organizations have actually sold coaching programs like patties. It's something that is so easy to get, and the small market of Mauritius has been oversaturated with marketing. So it's just the next thing you see on your Instagram or on your Facebook post, that you need coaching, and that gets too much, right? It gets too much. So you start to banalize the real value of what the actual experience can bring in your life. So that has been the biggest struggle, to really launch as a female coach, local female coach. It hasn't been difficult to launch myself with a couple of ladies and with youngsters, with young ladies, but on a corporate level, on a national level and a regional level, it becomes hard. Definitely becomes hard, because you're competing against the big boys. Yeah.
And so when you offer coaching, and you're saying they're sort of showing up coaching as like this next thing to have,
yes,
what's the issue with that? Because it's like, people, like you said, people don't really know why they would get into coaching, like why they need one, and the value that it can have in their life.
Yes, I think, like I always say, I didn't know myself I need it. Like it came to my life like for free, and I was really happy that I got the experience. So we don't really know what we need in life in any way, right? We don't even know sometimes that we need to go and have a blood test, but we do it because it's essential for our health. We need to know what's happening. So similarly, this is the same thing with coaching. It's just another tool, another experience, another opportunity that helps you to become better at what you're doing. And this typical, I would say, mindset mindset about, oh, coaching is for people who are not good. Coaching is for people who are struggling, who are unclear, who, you know, or weak or incompetent. So this is wrong, because no, look at the biggest I would say sportsman, football team. They all have coaches.
They all have coaches. Yeah.
They all have coaches. Why? Is it because that they're not good? I don't think so, because they're gold medalists. It's because you need somebody who is there at some point in your life to just tell you, hey, you got this. And sometimes you don't want to listen to your family because you'd feel your family is biased. But a coach is also there to tell you things the way they are. Like, they don't sugarcoat things. They tell you the truth. And these truths, they are scary, but you need to hear them to know what move you should make. It's just like your doctor. So if your doctor says you've got a serious health issue, you would want him to tell you the truth than to lie to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So people, we don't know if we need coaching, but one thing for sure is coaching can never do wrong, unless the coach doesn't know what they're doing. But it can only help you to think more through things and just gain more clarity. And that's it. And you shouldn't look at it as something, oh, if I go for coaching, what's people going to say? I'm not good enough. Like, this is just a wrong mindset.
The mindset that you need to get out of.
No, I totally agree, because we're part of the generation that's like Mauritian, and I've got Mauritian parents, and I've never heard anyone in my family who's got a coach or who's even kind of delved into that kind of program. And when I say, oh, I'm thinking of this, or I'm doing this, it's kind of like, what do you do? Like, what do you need it for? That everything's set out for you.
You're so intelligent, so clever already. Why do you need it for? But the funny thing is that we've always had coaches in our lives, but they've taken different shapes. They've taken different forms. Like, a teacher is a coach, or a spiritual person, like a pundit or whatever it is. They are all somehow a coach. They motivate you. They encourage you. They tell you the truth. They try to show you the reality of life, and that's what they've been there for. And they've all acted as coaches. You know, a priest during the mass is like a coach. Yes, he's a spiritual leader, but at the same time, he's acting as a coach. So I'm not comparing a coach with a priest, of course. But what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, it's something that we've always been exposed to, and we've always experienced, but we just didn't know it was similar.
Yeah, that's it. So in that way, it's kind of crazy how people think about coaching that way, because, like we've said, there are forms of it, and we've all experienced it one way or another.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's true.
Coaches are not priests. I mean, they're not spiritual leaders, but they are here. They are professional guides that can help you in specific aspects of your life, such as career, skills development, well-being, and so on and so forth. So we, as coaches, we have our place that we need to work on, and that's what we came from.
Yeah.
We briefly touched upon this earlier when we spoke about social media, and I think we kind of said that it's coaching is a lot in people's faces, but I think social media nowadays has a big impact on our generation or anyone who uses it, really. So I think with your clients, what do you kind of see in terms of how social media affects them, and as in, is there a way to navigate around it? Because I think a lot of times people just assume, oh, you can just go off social media.
I would say social media is playing a huge role in the coaching industry. Okay. The number one role it's playing is that it's trying to tell people that you need to buy coaching now. You need coaching now, and you need to buy it now. That's the number one thing it's doing. The second thing it's doing is that it's overselling coaching. It has banalized the value of coaching. So literally, you just go online You want to become a coach, you do an online course in executive coaching for $20 and you're a coach. Whereas I spent thousands of dollars, hours of coaching to become a coach. So social media has literally banalized the real value of coaching. That's one side. The other side is it has also made coaching accessible. So when you used to be this person who just didn't know, like, I'm just stuck and I need to feel unstuck. I need to just move from point A to point B, and I don't know how to do that. And then suddenly you see, okay, maybe I need a coach through social media. Maybe that's the answer. So you start learning about it, you start reading about it, and you say, okay, I want to find a coach. And then you start looking for the different coaches, and you trial and error, you manage to get the right coach for you. So just like every positive thing has got a negative thing, similarly for coaching is the same thing. So it's like that. If you know that you want to go towards a coach, social media is there to just show you the thousands of coaches that you can have. At the end of the day, what I always do is I don't like using social media to do my marketing too much, because I just feel that people would never know. They obviously it's a way for me to attract my clients. What I've seen works for me is my impact, my individual impact. So let's say I'm working with this one person and they know me, they've worked with me, that person is going to refer me, and that it works like that. And I prefer it to be that way, to be honest with you, because then I know the person knows what value they're getting, rather than just spending dollars and dollars and just sponsoring my posts and this and that. Like, I feel you're just then a drop in the ocean, because you're just then lost among so much that pool. I mean, the person who needs to buy will be like, where do I even start? I mean, I try to put myself in the consumer's shoes, and it's horrible. But this is how it is. Everything is like that. Everything
I was going to say,
being sold. Yeah, everything is being sold on the internet, on social media. So use it to get more information. But when you have to make a choice of whether you should go to this coach or to another coach, then it's relational. It's definitely relational. It has to click. There needs to be a connection. If there is no click, there is no connection, you would never stay with that coach. You would never start something with them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think
did I answer your question?
Yeah, no. I just wanted to see what your opinion really is on social media in terms of coaching. Because to be really honest, until I met you, I did not know anything about coaching, at all. I knew about a therapist, but like you said, I just thought that they were the same. To be really honest, I had no idea. I had to kind of I think I remember I called you to ask you to do a collab with us, but I still had no idea what you actually do, what what the impact is, and we had to have that conversation. And I still feel like now I'm still learning by this conversation that we're having about coaching, and I think it just shows the depth, and how little people know about it really.
There is a strong demarcation line between coaching and counseling. Counseling is very, very, I would say, supportive and advice. Like the person who feels really lost and needs a psychological support and needs to go through psychological activities, and they need advice, they need guidance, they need really hand holding. That's more counseling. It has got a very supportive side. It has got a very, I would say, inclusive side, and you give the person more time to feel better. Coaching is very direct. Coach, with how you use coaching is, where you want to get. Although if you don't know, then the coach will help you to just see what are the different options, and you choose the option. In coaching, it's your call. So you decide where you want to go. You decide what steps you want to take. You decide what decisions you want to take. Then you say, what's the role of the coach then? The role of the coach is to show you what are the opportunities, what are the chances, what are the options. And it's there to just keep motivating you, pushing you, encouraging you, and giving you the right tools to make that possible. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's your journey. The coach is there as somebody who's supporting you, who is actually giving you the tools that you need, and who's just mentally there to make you stronger, right? So if you're moving from one career to another and you feel lost, you don't know what to do, the coach is gonna be there to dig deep and ask you the questions of why you're doing it, what does it mean, how can you do, what are the possibilities, and then you will find that you have the answers already. You always have the answers. You just need somebody to pull it out of you.
That's it. Yeah, because
Exactly.
I think a lot of, well, I think myself included, one thing I've struggled with is like, it's a simple thing. It's like, what are my values? And unless you sort of take time, take a step back and sort of evaluate, what are my actual values? Like, what do I live by? And it's a simple question, but it's so
very hard to answer.
Yes.
It's so very hard to answer.
Oh my goodness. Like, absolutely. Yeah. So even
it's one of the things that we do in coaching. That's the first thing we do. We look at your values, and until you don't know what those values are, well, you don't need to literally pin 3 down. You can have 5, 6, but you need to know. You need to have that awareness, and that's the first thing we do in coaching.
So you kind of spoke about a lot of your clients tend to be through people know each other. That's how you'll get new clients. But how do you differentiate between being a coach and being a friend? Because I can imagine, you might be in a group, like in a circle, and, someone's talking about the issue, but like, how do you differentiate between giving a friendly advice and the coach side of you telling them, or coach or counselor side of you giving your opinion?
I think as a coach, you wear a professional cap. You don't give advice, whether as a coach or a counselor. You don't give advice. You try to help the person to find their own answers, but you just give them the ropes. You just show them the way. You just try to show them options by asking them questions, but you don't give advice. And that's actually an ethical coaching practice. You don't give advice, but you try to show the person, like you ask, okay, what could you do then if you do this? What would happen? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, but then I shouldn't do this. Actually, so they're doing their own thinking. Being a friend is normally where you would give advice. You would say, oh, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I've done this. So I'm a very authentic friend. Like, if I speak to my friends or my sister or my parents, and we would always be suggesting advices, and we'll be like, okay, we're going to have a conversation, an open conversation where we're all sharing vulnerably, where we're all just being, it's just very normal. But when you are in a coaching contract, when you're in a counseling experience, it's different. Just like you're going to a doctor, you're going to a psychologist, you're going to a psychiatrist. It's very professional. The setting is very professional. My advice can't be relevant to my client because they are living their own life experiences. What could mean something essential to me can mean nothing to my client because they are in their own setting, they are in their own experience. So I can't just tell them to do this or to do that. On the other hand, I'm not helping them. I'm actually exposing them to more harm. So the way I differentiate myself as a coach and as a friend is, as a coach, my job is 100% professional, and it's really putting the client first and listening to the client very carefully to know what they're going through and to help them see it, and at the same time suggest tools that they can use so that they can better their own situation by themselves, right? I have the tools, I have the knowledge, I have the experience of helping those people without giving them advice as such. But as a friend, I'll always give advice. As a friend, I'm just a normal person. But yeah, I would say there are some times where you would want to coach a friend, but no, I refrain from doing that because at the end of the day, a friend needs a friend, not a coach.
Yeah, fair enough. I can imagine that being quite conflicting at times, or have you managed to sort of...
Not really. No. When I say, if it's part of you, if it's who you are, you can't really become somebody else. It's always going to be that part of you, It's like you're asking a singer not to sing when they're walking down the street. It's not something easy for them to do. So no, I don't impose any coaching practices on my friends, but they would always tend to come to me because I'm a coach. And they say, oh, well, you're a coach, so you should know. I'm like, no, I'm not supposed to know these things, but it's part of me. But yeah, definitely.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I think we touch upon social media, and I think for our intro call, we had a sort of discussion about the hustle culture on social media. So tell us how that sort of played a part, because I remember you mentioned that was part of your burnout in the past.
Yeah. The hustle culture is very present on social media. #hustle_hard. So I think it's something that is not really helping people, because yes, you have to hustle in life, but you also have to pause. That's very important. Hustling is all about ambition. Okay, it's all about, I need to get to my end. I need to succeed this. I need to get my goal. But we, in the meantime, we forget the process. We are so focused on the hustling. We are so focused on the goal. We're so focused on the ambition. And we're not even caring for the whole process. The whole process is intention. What's my current intention? How do I feel right now? Hustling is it's important in life. We need to hustle. We need to be resilient. But to what extent and to what expense, right? If you're constantly hustling, what's going to be left of you?
Yeah,
right?
Nothing.
What's going to be left of you? I one day I actually told this little story to my client about the goose and the egg. I'm not going to tell it now because it's a very long story, but you can find it on YouTube. It's simply that, we are this goose that's always laying golden eggs, right? We are always laying golden eggs, and our golden eggs are our career, our work-life balance, our financial stability, our social status. This is what makes us feel competent and content and enough. So if we're not looking after ourselves, our mental well-being, our physical well-being, our emotional well-being, how can we be producing our wealth? Health is wealth. I always say that. So hustle, yes, but it's health first. Pause when you need to pause, and really take time off social media. Take time off social media. I know this is going to go on social media, and this is definitely going to help people, I hope. But sometimes social media tells you things that you want to see, not you need to see, right? And I would strongly recommend everyone to watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix.
Oh, amazing.
It's a great documentary. And it's true.
Yeah, and I like the way they sort of incorporated the family with it, because it actually gives a representation of what it actually is.
Yeah,
but it's amazing. And
exactly. So this is the impact of social media on us.
And it's crazy that after watching it, you're still we still have that social media still has that terror on you. You still go on it. And
what I've done after watching this, I switched off all my notification, all of them, switched them off. Facebook, social, Instagram, switched them off. Gmail, everything. It's only when I have time that I'm going to check them, or when I'm working that I'm checking my email, or else it's all
that's it.
Quiet.
I think that's what I've done as well. Sort of cut back my time.
Yeah, definitely. But the hustle part, I would say that be careful with that culture. Okay, be careful with the hustle culture, whether it's in the fitness industry, whether it's in the mental health industry, whether it's in beauty industry. We're all trying to hustle. We're all trying to show that we are the best. But you have to be careful at the expense of what? Yeah, most of the time, most of my clients, it's at the expense of our own health. I've been through that myself. So
I'm really happy you said
have
that.
To be careful.
I do think when you were mentioning this, actually, I just had a different idea in my head. Like, even though we're talking about social media and how that affects our our generation, I've seen a lot that there are other factors. Like, for example, for my mum, her generation, like we were talking about, they don't get coaches, they don't get therapy, there's this whole culture of underlying neglect. Like, you tend to neglect yourself at the expense of others. For our generation, it's a lot. It might be that, or it might as well be, social media, for example, has it's at our expense. But I think we're the generation that's really trying to change that whole kind of concept of you need to put others in front of you.
Absolutely.
That's not the case. You need to put other ideas in front of you. Like you shouldn't really be doing that. It's not cute.
Yeah, and actually when you do put others, like I said, you neglect sort of taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the more you do that, the more you're giving yourself away. And it's like you can't give if you can't like fix yourself.
You don't have anything to give.
Yeah.
You can't give out
that's
an empty
it cup. Yeah, that's the analogy.
And I was trying to give my daughter love, affection, time out of an empty cup. It was very, very sad. At the age of 2, my daughter was completely disconnected from me. Like she wanted her daddy.
Yeah,
I was there, mommy was there, and she would come to me for cuddles and everything. But I just felt that the time and the energy she wanted from me, I couldn't give. I was too tired. And I had dark circles. I was sleeping without sleeping. I was having my 7-6 hours sleep without sleeping because I was constantly thinking of what's going on. There was so many things in my mind. And sometimes, you know, what I've seen is that we don't know how to stop. We don't know how to relax.
That's it. Yeah.
We don't know how to pause. We are in a society that wants us to just keep going forward. And it does not tell you how to pause. You know, it's simple things. When my clients ask me, so how do I actually do that? I'm like, okay, first, you could go to a spa. I'm joking, but I'm saying these are very small things that we don't look at anymore. Like I live on an island, and for nearly a whole year, I didn't go to the beach because I didn't have time. I mean, come on, how can we say we don't have time? Time is there. It's there for you to grab. You know, you have to make time. And it's simple things like that we completely omit. And it's just sad. It's sad. So I think the first thing to do is to really tell yourself, stop, physically stop and say, okay, what do I do now that's going to make me feel relieved and a little bit better?
Yeah. And one of the things I sort of want to come on as well, when you sort of neglect, because we're talking about sort of neglecting ourselves, and that can actually prevent sort of physical disease, I don't know if that's the right term, but in the long term, because so that's one thing I sort of want to
I agree. For instance, there's something like stress is the number one activator of illness. That's number one cause of illness, because stress affects your hormones, affects your mental wellness, and all of that cascades, affects the way the food works in your body. You don't eat enough, you don't eat properly, you don't sleep properly. So a human being who's supposed to eat properly, sleep properly, to feel good, to be better, to feel healthy, is actually deprived from all of that. Definitely you're creating illness somewhere. And that's why today we have more coronary heart diseases. We have more people with diabetes. We have people with psychological problems, because we are so stressed. And I always say, nobody is going to take care of yourself except from yourself, except from you. So if you don't tell yourself you need to slow down, nobody's going to tell you to slow. No, your job is definitely not going to tell you to slow down. Definitely not. So you should know, and that's why you've pinned that right, Magali, because yes, if you neglect yourself, you will fall sick, very, very sick. And that's why today we have a sick society. Mauritius has a very, very high rate of diabetes.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to sort of come on to, because in my family, like diabetes, I think half my sort of aunties and uncles have
2
diabetes.
People on 3 is diabetic in Mauritius. Like 2 over 3 is diabetic. Definitely. I mean, either you are borderline diabetic, you're pre-diabetic, or you're diabetic. We all are like that. So it's part of the society, and that's because we are a society. We eat our rice and our heavy food, but not only that, we are also stressed out. We're also like now getting into this very challenging work patterns and work life, and that's really causing a lot of harm.
I think to a certain extent, like being stressed and being busy and just it's normalized and sometimes looked up to. Like someone who's really busy has got, is doing so many things. It's looked up to. Thing is, this was me at uni. I look back and think like it didn't help me So who the hell was I doing it? Like, why did I put myself in that position, kind of thing?
And I was like that too.
Because I think there's a way to do what you want and achieve what you want, but still look after yourself.
Yeah.
And it's knowing that it's possible.
Yeah. And I was like that too. I mean, I'm not saying that today, you know, I don't do it. I'm sometimes like that. My husband say, hey, hang on a minute, slow down. I mean, you've done so much already. I'm still like that. So the only difference is you need to know when to pull the alarm and say, hang on a minute, I need to stop. And yes, you've said it right, Hansini. The society today has normalized being busy and being stressed, just like they've normalized Black Friday.
Yeah.
Right? It has become something so normal to go and buy out of your reach on Black Fridays and Boxing Day that, you know, today people are doing it normally. Similarly, when you're very busy, it looks normal to you. Oh, I'm busy. When you're talking to me, oh, I'm busy. Oh, I'm busy. Okay, fine. Well, to what extent can you be busy? Like at some point, it needs to calm down a little. So
yeah,
I'm glad you girls can see it too.
Yeah, no. Because that is one thing we've talked about as well, and getting your perspective is really good.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we experienced it while we were both at university and came out.
Yeah.
We experienced burnout, and I think with that experience, I think we both made a commitment to ourselves to work on that in our own individual ways. Like we both handle things differently, but it's just knowing that, you know, this is a consequence of trying to burn yourself out. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not, but you can't just keep going without doing something about it.
But also this at the same time, it's our fault because, you know, yes, we do have pressure from family, we have pressure from uni, we have pressure from friends, but we don't know how to say it, how to voice it out. Most of my like some of my clients, when they speak to me, they say, oh, I'm going through this, or nobody's helping me, I find myself alone. I said, but did you speak about it? Have you voiced it out? Have you tried to share? Most of the time the answer is no. So how do people know around you that you're not feeling well, that you are feeling stressed out when you don't say it? So what we do is we fear that when we will say we're not well, we need time, we need to just stop, we're not well, we feel that people are going to misjudge us. So what we do is we don't say it. We just keep going. I did that as well. We just keep going thinking that, oh yeah, I can do it. I've got this. You know, this thing about you've got this? Well, we keep telling that ourselves like a mantra, and we don't stop. And this is where it's when you're literally at the end of the rope, you really can't now. And this is why people are like, why didn't you say anything? And yes, sometimes it would have just been you saying something. And I found that a lot of students from university, they take that pressure a lot on them. And they don't 100%. Communicate it to parents, and I understand, I've been there too. And that's why today when I'm coaching 4 girls from university, they're on the 2nd year and 3rd year. And, you know, I've had to ask them to start practicing some relaxation and meditation and just taking it slow. It's a bit of living because they were literally too overworked. And you just need to reach out when you're feeling like that. You should reach out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's sort of what happened. Like we were sort of taking time out, but it was just like as an escape to whatever we were doing, but not actually intentionally taking care of ourselves.
Exactly.
I don't think we knew how to.
That's it. Yeah. We didn't.
I think number one thing is understand that just like your body needs a doctor, your mind needs a mental health specialist, whether it's a therapist or a psychologist or a counselor. The mind needs that. You need to know how to calm the mind, because the mind is constantly working even when you're sleeping. Your body could be sleeping, but your mind isn't. We have to stop saying that going to a psychologist, people who are only crazy go to psychologists. In Mauritius, we say that. If you're going to a psychologist, that means you're crazy. Like, why? Why do you say something like that? This is so wrong. Somebody going to a psychologist is somebody who is seeking help to just feel mentally better. We all have mental strain.
Demons.
It's something normal, right? Yes, mental demons, mental strain. We all have that.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're seeking help to just feel better, calm the mind so that we can genuinely feel better, then what's the problem? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. We need to change that mindset. And unfortunately, it's so sad. Like, so many of these young ladies I speak to and said, have you tried to go to a psychologist before? Oh no, I'm not going to go to a psychologist. If I say that to my friends, they think I'm not well.
Crazy.
Like,
yeah.
Why do we? And sometimes you would not believe me, but parents would say that. I'm not taking my child to a psychologist. A family people are going to say that my daughter's not well. People are going to say that my son is not well. This is so wrong. This is so wrong.
Yeah. And because we're speaking about mental sort of clarity, what are your thoughts on meditation? Like, do you practice?
Yes, I've been practicing meditation since I'm very young, since I'm probably 15, 16, but I've always had a calling. The calling started when I was very young, around 8 years old. And then as I grew up, I started understanding that I get into a meditative state when I do my classical dance, which is Kathak. And when I dance that, I've done that for nearly 15 years of my life. Yeah. And I get into this trance. It becomes so strong, so powerful that everybody around me just disappear. And I'm in the moment. And then that helped me to very easily drift into meditation. So what I got to say about meditation is that, again, meditation has been banalized. It's not about sitting down and doing your fingers like that and go, oh, it's not just about that. Meditation is to calm the mind, is to listen to your thoughts. The number one step that you actually go through when you start practicing meditation is to observe your thoughts. So what we do is, when we are busy, we're not listening to our thoughts.
That's it.
When we are looking at things, we're absorbing information. You know, our senses, they keep absorbing information. When you're meditating, you're calming your senses. You're blocking out your senses just to be able to listen to what's going on inside, to the chaos that's happening inside. And when you listen to that chaos, you're able to file them, categorize them, and say, okay, hang on a minute, let me focus on that chaos first. Let me think through that chaos and try to see how I can figure it out. Yeah. And you do that with all the chaos in your life. And that's how you're able to gain clarity.
Control, yeah.
Clarity and control, yes. And that's how meditation helps. Meditation is not going to it's not a switch that when you press it, all of a sudden you feel happy, you feel relaxed. No, it's when you're sitting down with the intention of listening to your inner self, of listening to the voice inside, and you really hear it. You hear it, you make sense of it, you acknowledge it, and you act on it. That's meditation.
Yeah, because I like you said that, because I think people think, oh, they'll just do one session or like 1 hour,
it's done.
and then they can feel happy afterwards. But it doesn't work like that. You have to practice it consistently. Know what you want out of it as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
There are 100+ practices of meditation, more than 100 ways of doing meditation, right? And that's it tells you how vague it is. It already tells you how vague it is. So you need to know what works with you, whether when you're doing Tai Chi, whether when you are dancing, whether when you're closing your eyes, you're sitting down, when you're doing breathing. There's so many different ways. It's just knowing which one works for you, and you're able to use it to feel better and to feel clearer. So it's not about sitting down 1 hour. Sometimes I meditate for 15 minutes. I feel so good. Sometimes I feel I need to meditate for a bit more. Sometimes it's just 5 minutes, but it's just to like make it quiet in my mind and just and then
shut everything. Yeah. Because I found that, because I've sort of incorporated that in my like daily routine before going to bed and sort of waking up. And like you said, like sometimes it's like 5 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. So it's not like a set thing. It's just when you feel you need it. And I think since starting that, like you said, like I sleep much better because it's like my mind's calm and it knows that when I'm in bed, like obviously, you know, you still have those nights where you're literally thinking about everything.
Absolutely. And you need to let that happen.
Yeah.
You need to let that happen.
Yeah, to let your mind run, to like just get it all out. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think like Meg said, it's a process. It's not something you stop and start. Like, you know, if you just do it once, yeah, it might benefit you in the moment, but I don't think you really see the true benefits of it until a while. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, my next question is more, what are your future plans and vision for Virago Coaching, and what projects are you working now, really? Because I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, like you said, the options and the things you can work on is like the world is your oyster.
Yes, that's true.
So what's your next vision? Like, what are you working on?
I think my main motivation is to make an impact on as many people's lives as I can. And today, Virago Coaching is, you know, a startup. And we're still trying to, I'm still trying to, you know, fit it in the society. But definitely going forward, I will be working a lot with young ladies of 18 to 25 years old. And all the programs that I have been working with my existing clients that fit in this category, I will be now creating like a responsive program that, you know, you can any young lady of those ages will be able to feel that, okay, this program is really tailor-made for them. So I'm going to be working on a tailor-made program for them. And I'm also going to be doing like events, like small group coaching sessions of 3 hours where, you know, you group, let's say around 10 to 12 girls, and you talk about very like some essential but also current problems that, you know, we're currently facing in the society, or that they are currently facing in their families, because believe me or not, there are common problems with all these girls, and they all will relate with each other, and just kind of have this community where they feel that they're not alone. So that would be my mission next year, is to really work for these young girls. And obviously most of them don't work, so there might be definitely this an NGO aspect to it, but we'll see where that goes. It's a bit of, I would say, a daring wish, but I hope I'm able to make it. But for me to be able to make it more sustainable, I would definitely have to also work with the corporate environment. This is where I will need to also, you know, make the financial stability come in. So I will also definitely become a corporate coach, hopefully. But for the society, with a bigger impact, it's going to be with the lovely girls. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's my mission.
Like you.
So of course, I keep my fingers crossed though.
Yeah, no, I think because you have a vision and, you know, a strong statement that you're working towards, I think it will all come together. And
thank you.
Yeah, so just keep going. I know we said
keep going, but at the same time just take it slow.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because I think what you're saying about bringing those girls together, especially those that age, I think that's a really good thing to have, because I think when you're at that age, as in, well, we were there sort of 4 or 5 years ago, you do feel alone. Like at times you do feel alone, but we're all going through the same things.
Yes. And back in the days when we were going through this, we didn't have dangerous thoughts. Or if we did, somehow we were able to get out of it. But today, when girls have dangerous thoughts, these young ladies, when they have dangerous thoughts, they close themselves up, and that's even more dangerous.
Yeah.
And to really give them a helping hand and say, hey, I'm not judging, I understand you, and it's let's talk about it. I think this is very important to them. I've sensed that, I've seen that, I've experienced it, and I think this is what our society needs today.
Yeah, and because we were talking about the social dilemma earlier, and actually in the documentary, one of the things they showed was the statistics of young girls suicidal rates. I think it has doubled or even tripled within the last couple of years. And that literally just shows
because what I've seen is that they're also living on social media. For them, reality is not reality. Reality is what's on social media. And if that's the case for them, then that's the case for them. I mean, I'm not here to judge, but that has an impact on them. But they have to be able to dissociate from that and know that you are a human being and you need specific things. You need mental stability, you need physical stability, you need sleep, basic things that you need to have. You need sleep, good food, and they need to learn about that. And I'm not saying all of them, but obviously we have a group of young ladies who really, really need help. And I guess it's not just in Mauritius. I guess it's worldwide.
That's why. I completely support and really admire what you plan to do, and I hope you do manage. You will manage to do it. I think. Let's be positive. You will do. I think just because you have the passion and aim for it, it will happen one way or another. It might not happen the way you think, but
let's hope so. Thank you so much.
I think it's going to have a lot of impact on girls, and had we had something like this when we were growing up, I think it would have been really, really valuable for me personally. I think a lot of girls would really appreciate it.
I think it would definitely be valuable, because I think just thinking back when I was deciding what to do at university, I remember that was literally like such a not a hassle, but I felt so lost, because at one point
and lonely.
Well, not lonely, because I had my family were always supportive. Like they told me, do what you want to do. But even that was like, I wanted to do law, economics, maths. Like it was just so many. There's a lot of options, and it's like if you don't know what your values are, and our minds are very congested.
Yes.
So definitely, Hans. Like I think it would have definitely helped.
So I'm planning to do that.
Yeah. Okay, just to end off, we're kind of going towards the end of our questions. It's more about you. What are some of your favorite books, quotes, or some things that you live by and really help you? Really,
that's a great question. I'll start with what I. I'll give you the praise for that. Quote that I live by is not a well-known quote, but it was a quote that was said by my coach, who's not here anymore. He was, like I mentioned, my boss at that time. He was 75 years old when I was 25 years old. So there was 50 years of gap between us, and he was a great coach. And one thing he said to me, and it stuck to my mind, he said to me, attitude will always help you gain more aptitude. And with that aptitude in your life, you will gain altitude. And what he was trying to say is, with the right attitude about yourself, about life, about family, about everything that's meaningful in your life, you will be more open-minded. You have to be more open-minded. You have to understand that if you have the right attitude, it will give you more wisdom. It will give you more real intellectuality, real intelligence, because you have the right attitude. And only then you will be able to reach up the ladder where you want to reach, like that is your goal or whatever it is. But it all starts with the right attitude. And that has helped me tremendously in my life, because every time I try to do something new, or I try to achieve something in my life, or I try to plan something, I always try to say, okay, what is my intention here? What do I ultimately want to achieve? Is my intention positive? And how can I make sure that I have the right attitude towards that plan, or whether it's a problem, whether it's a situation? our attitude affects us 101%.
Yeah.
If we don't have the right attitude, we will never be able to make the right decisions in our life.
Yeah, no,
so that's
you're right.
Definitely my favorite quote, which is from somebody who is renowned in my world. And books, I would say, listen, I don't have a favorite book, but I love reading book about spirituality. I love Dr. Wayne Dyer's book. I think he explains spirituality in plain English, which is beautiful. I also like Brené Brown's books. I think she writes beautifully well about the power of women in, in a patriarchal society. And this is a little bit about it, but definitely I would recommend also Om Swami. So Om Swami is a monk who was a billionaire, who was a millionaire in Australia, and today he's a monk. But he just shows you how attitude and human beings we are. At the end of the day, we are faulty, but it's when we decide to make the best of our lives and we really decide to focus on what's happening inside that you're able to open up to your real potential. So it's a beautiful book. It's a nice book. So yeah, that's a little bit about my quotes and books.
I was going to say thank you so much for jumping on our podcast. It's been really, really insightful and really valuable. I just kind of sat here listening to what you say.
No, I've loved this.
It was just it was really great. So thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you've got a really busy schedule.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Thank you so much for having me here. I mean, it's for me it's a milestone today. So thank you, girls, for giving me this chance of talking to you about coaching and counseling, because it's what I love doing. Although it's not my full-time job, the struggle is real. Startup life is a hard life, but to talk about my passion has been amazing. But to talk about it authentically with the ugly, the less ugly, and the beautiful, this is what makes it really special for me. So thank you so much for your great questions and for your time. Bravo to you, girls. Thank you so much.
No, bravo to you. Hello and welcome to the Zolly Mumsar podcast with Magali
and Hansini, where we have thought-provoking conversations about journeys, life, and much more. Catch our latest episodes every Monday.
Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy.